Salute is a program for and about men and women who have served our country. Our program includes news about the laws that affect veterans, information on benefits and services, and news from veterans organizations. And now, our host, Bob Peters.
Hello and welcome to Salute. I'm your host, Bob Peters, and I think you can guess what this show is all about. And with me today is an old friend who first came on this show about 3 years ago. He's, you know what I like about you, Gary?
What's that?
Mr. Gary Kadow.
First you called me an old friend. I don't know.
3 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, you're the founder and executive director of Project SOS, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that. But I just wanted to let you know what I really like about you.
What's that?
Is you get me out of a lot of trouble. Because my wife's always,
it's true.
You're here, you're there, you're never home. And I say, yeah, but I'm not like Gary Kadow.
Yeah, he's like never home.
He's never home.
You're right. You're right.
But anyway, welcome to the show again, my friend.
Thank you, Bob.
And talk a little bit about Project SOS in case somebody's not seen it before.
Okay, Project SOS, which stands for Support Our Soldiers, started back in August of 2009. And initially it started off as very, very small, shipping a few boxes to Afghanistan, to Iraq. My son was in Iraq at the time with the Army Rangers, and we sent medical supplies over to help assist them with their humanitarian missions. And it kind of went from 5 boxes a month, eventually to the point we've sent over 160,000 pounds of medical, surgical supplies. We opened up 23 clinics over there, a small hospital for children in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, and it kind of grew far beyond our wildest dreams. So that was our international part of it, and now what we're doing in the Tri-County area here is we have 2 programs. One is for wheelchairs for disabled veterans, and the other one is helping our homeless veterans who are living out in our national forests, and we have many here in the Ocala National Forest.
Yeah, so you've kind of altered the plan a little bit due to the downsizing of our troops over there.
Right. As the withdrawals took place, we cut back quite a bit.
So the wheelchair thing, I remember the first show we did, we asked for wheelchairs.
Yeah,
we got a great reception. You got, people were calling you.
Yeah, we had a terrific
And we need
response.
more now, right?
We do. My warehouse is empty. So anyone out there that has a standard wheelchair or a motorized wheelchair, which are very, very useful. We have a long list of veterans who need motorized wheelchairs. We certainly could use those right now. We've given out 42 motorized wheelchairs this year alone in 2012. So that's a lot of veterans whose lives we've been able to change.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of going with you to the school with the young children. That because every once in a while you get a small chair that
we get a specialized chair for children.
Specialized chair for children. You take it out to a special needs student.
Yep,
which those are always heartwarming.
They really are. There's a lot of children that have needs out there too. They can't afford these chairs, and we go out to Howie in the Hills to the Lake School out there, where they have about 182 children who have severe disabilities. And we try and provide those chairs to them since we can't use them for our veterans. And
I've also been very impressed with when you go to the nursing homes and facilities, you make a point of having a celebration, recognizing the veteran and telling what he's done or she's done, and presenting them with the chair. And I think you do a great job, my friend.
Thank you. Thank
you.
But you're a big part of that. Without you in this TV show, I'm not sure how far we would have gone. So thank you for all you've done.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We got a good crew here at Lakefront,
You do
But anyway, the wheelchairs. Now you say you want motorized and regular wheelchairs.
We do.
We need to give out a number or something where people can call you.
If they have a wheelchair and they're in the Tri-County area, it can be a regular manual wheelchair, transport chair, particularly a motorized wheelchair. Does not have to be in working conditions. If the batteries are dead on the motorized chair, what we do when we get them in, we recondition them. We put in brand new batteries. We do a safety check on the entire chair before anything is given out. I have a gentleman who works with me named Al Coons.
Great guy.
Who lives out in Bellevue. He is fantastic. He puts in an extraordinary amount of hours fixing these chairs and getting them ready for our veterans, so I can't thank him enough. But we make arrangements to come and pick them up. If they can drop them off, better yet, we have a warehouse, which is located in Fruitland Park, Lady Lake area, and that's where we store them and we distribute from there. But if they have a wheelchair, they can call 352-430-0567. And it's Gary Kadow. That is my home phone number, and talk to me. We'll make arrangements to get a hold of that wheelchair, and we have a long list of veterans waiting for them.
Yeah, and that's
Never
great.
ends.
So
Yeah.
we're calling on you. We need your help.
Yeah, they've always come through. The community's always been there.
Yeah, and I think that the important thing is, too, that you need to express that you don't buy these chairs from the people. They're donated to you. But you do have to get contributions and raise money for the batteries and the repairs, you know.
On an average chair that we get in, we probably spend anywhere from $400 to $500 just to recondition that chair and get it ready for a veteran. Again, we have to be sure they're absolutely safe. So we put in new batteries, new tires if needed. There are certain things we can't replace if a chair, and it does happen, and I know people have wonderful hearts and they mean well, but sometimes we'll get a call on a chair that's been sitting outside in the elements for 10 years and we can't possibly fix it, so we wind up, it goes for scrap metal. But if the chair is in decent condition and it can be fixed, we certainly will do that and we'll put it to good use. And again, we change lives when we give them these chairs. It opens up a whole new world to them, as you've seen personally from being out there. So.
Yeah, I've seen.
And these are going to vets of all ages. They go from vets that were in World War II all the way to vets that are coming home right now. So we cover all of the different conflicts that took place in the wars. Anyone who needs a chair will get a chair. There is no exception to that at no cost. That's correct. We never charge a penny for anything, nor will we ever. Nor do we take anything. We're all volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Our people are volunteers. We don't even get reimbursed for our own gas mileage. All of the money that we get in, the donations, and we do need donations to keep things running, payable to Project SOS, and they can call and do the same thing. We'll give them the address where to mail it. All of that is used. Every penny of that goes to the veterans. Nobody takes anything out of that for administrative costs. So.
That's great. What are you recently took a trip too a little while ago. You know, when I mentioned the fact that you're never home.
Yeah, it's been busy.
You're quite the man. I tell you, you do help out everybody wherever you can, and you took a little trip, didn't you?
Out to the forest you're talking about?
No, I'm talking before that. You went to build some homes in the hospital, right?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I forgot about that.
How could you forget about that?
Well, we do a lot of work with our veterans, but at the same time, Project SOS, the word has gotten out what we do with medical supplies and so forth. And we had an abundance of medical supplies that we could not ship to Afghanistan. We had an entire tractor trailer load. So I got a call from Dr. Ralph Goose, who is a cancer doctor. And he had heard about SOS and said that he was building a children's hospital over in Haiti, a very remote part of Haiti, not in Port-au-Prince, about 140 miles out. And he had the hospital and everything was there, but they couldn't equip it. They didn't have the money to do that. They ran out of money. And the need was tremendous over there. So we had a tractor trailer load of equipment. We provided that to him and we outfitted the hospital. At the same time, I took a trip to Haiti to actually see where this was going. And it just touched my heart. And I fell in love with the people over there. They were wonderful. The need was tremendous. Children dying in the streets literally over there just broke my heart. So we've continued that, and we also support through a separate effort a group called Haiti Help Med. And we've raised a lot of money now for Haiti Help Med, separate and apart from Project SOS, and trying to help over in that effort too. Wherever there are children, you know, throughout the world that get caught in the middle of these things, be it a disaster or a war, you can't walk away. It's just not in us, and it shouldn't be in us. You know, as a minister, I'm obligated to do that.
That's what I was going to say. You're also
but as a human being, I'm also obligated to help when I see those needs too, and that's what we try and do, as you do.
Well, but that, like I mentioned before, when my wife starts on me, I can say, I'm not like Gary Kadow. I don't take off and go to Haiti.
Yeah. My wife does to me once in a while, though, and she's a sweetheart. She's very supportive.
Yeah, it's got to be a sweetheart.
Yeah, she sure does.
Another thing you're up to now is the homelessness. And
yeah, that's a sad situation.
You're working with my good friend, our friend, Pastor Chris.
Right here in Leesburg, Pastor Chris Ward. Also working with Pastor Mark Smith, who has a church in the forest, which is actually out there in the forest. And also Pastor Mark Ward, who is Chris's brother, who's also a pastor, as I am. And the four of us have been working together for 2 years now, dealing with the homeless veterans that are living out in the Ocala National Forest. And there are many. A year ago when I started with him, going out there and providing them with what they need, and what they need is literally everything. We provide fresh water, We provide shelter, we provide food, proper sanitation, medical care. We have medics that are out there, 2 Army medics and a Navy corpsman who treat the people that are living out there. And initially, I thought it was just the veterans, and we picture our veterans being out there. But the fact is, it's our veterans with their families. Many of our veterans from many of the wars, going all the way back to Vietnam, are living in the forest. Last year, there were 432 families that we identified out there. This year, it has gone up 50%. We have 658 families living in the Ocala National Forest. These are men, women, and children. And when I say children, I'm talking school-age children all the way down to infants. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we had 2 babies that were actually born out there, and we had to get obstetrics kits with the assistance of friends here locally to help birth those babies. And they're healthy and they're doing very, very well. So.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that, and then all of a sudden the motherly instinct comes out in a lot of people. You know, the mothers, and they go, "Oh, well, these children is terrible as they're out in the forest."
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the environment is harsh. There's absolutely no question about that. It's a very difficult environment, and there is a lot of suffering out there. I mean, they really have to put up with a lot with the skin diseases they get living in the forest, the illnesses and that type of thing. The good thing is our county governments have recognized that these children are out there. And a year ago, a little over a year ago, almost 2 years now, they have put in bus stops out in the woods, out in the forest, so these children can go to school if that's what they choose to do. Many are still home studied, you know, they're home educated. And the people that are living out there, the veterans, their wives and families, many of them, they're very well educated and they can teach these children, they're qualified to do so. But we'd like to see them in school if at all possible, if nothing else, because of the education part of it, the socialization of mixing with other children and getting used to that besides the kids in the forest. And that's been very successful. The difficulty is when you live in the forest and you go to school in one of the cities, be it Bellevue, Leesburg, wherever, you're not dressed the same as the other children. You're not hygienically as clean as the other children. They don't have the shampoos and the soaps and the toothpaste, toothbrushes, all the things that children have at home. So they do get picked on an awful lot, and kids, they don't mean to, but they can sometimes be cruel to these children. And they'll come home crying at the end of the day and not want to go back to school. They want to stay with mom and dad. So they lack a lot of things out there. The one thing that I have not seen out there that they lack is love. And their parents care a great deal about them. These children are well taken care of. The parents will sacrifice whatever they have for the child to make sure that their needs are met. And I see this hundreds and hundreds of times. So to be able to work out there with them the way we do, and I spent last weekend out there, Saturday and Sunday with them, is a real privilege. It really is.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago you put a call out to the Vietnam veterans in the villages for towels and blankets and, you know, similar stuff to that. And you got a great response out of there, and you also got a nice response from USA Cares.
We did.
And you got a bunch of stuff. I haven't been out there yet, and we keep talking about it. One of these days we're going to go out.
You and I will be going out.
Because it's not a place anybody just walks into it. It's like going into it's a private community for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding about our veterans in the forest. It's not a place where you can drive down a road and just kind of park your car and walk out and, hey, there they are. They're far back into the forest for a lot of reasons. One, they don't want to become an oddity where people are driving out there to watch them. The other thing is they feel safer the further back in they are, you know, from harm for their children and so forth, and they worry a great deal about that, where children could be taken, and that has happened in the past, where, you know, Children's Services will come in and a child will all of a sudden be gone, find out Children's Services took them away and the parents didn't know that. So those things do happen out there, and they're very protective, so they stay far back in. But for someone to try and go out there on their own and walk back in, that would not be recommended. One, it's not a safe environment. It's very harsh out there between the spiders and the snakes and the bugs. And I've seen panthers out there. I've seen Florida panthers for the first time when I started going out. So it can be a dangerous environment. You need to know where you're going. You need to go in with somebody. Trust is a big factor out there. They need to know who you are, that they can trust you before you can get in. So it's not a tourist type attraction. You need to go with someone that knows the forest and knows the people. And I've been out there many times, as have the other pastors, so we have that trust that's built. But they're amazing people. They're just incredible people, very loving people. And there are several groups that are out there, you know, not just.
That's where I want to get to.
Yeah, there's a lot of
because
confusion.
I read, you know, and a lot of people do. They look in the newspaper, and there's a thing about the rainbow people.
Yeah, I saw
and
one recently.
you know, it doesn't necessarily paint them in the best pictures. You know, they're being old hippies that just travel all over the country, and you know, it doesn't project what's really out there in a lot of respects, though. Would you like to clarify that up a little bit for me?
Yeah, in fact, I saw an article recently that came out that talked about the rainbow people in the Ocala National Forest. I think the Orlando Sentinel put that out. And, you know, I understand when they write these things that, you know, they just see a certain segment of it, maybe a very small part of it instead of the overall picture. And sometimes it can come back kind of negative. But the bottom line is, are the rainbow family out there? Absolutely, sure, and they've been out there since 1978, I believe. These are people, in many cases, who came back from war, and they just dropped out of society. Some are veterans, many are veterans. I won't say some, many are veterans of the rainbow family. And they just decided to drop out of society and travel and live on their own and live in the forest. It doesn't make them bad people. In fact, most of them, when you see them out there, and I talk to a lot of them, you know, everything is like the days. I feel like I'm going back in time to the 60s. Everything is peace and love, and they'll give you the peace sign and tell you they love you. And, you know, it's really nice. It's really wonderful. They're very calm, relaxed, docile people who don't want to hurt a soul and just want to live their life as they see fit. On the other hand, like any other community, you're also going to get an element that comes out that tries to take advantage of that. And in some cases, I've seen it where people have come from the outside and actually raided the camps of the veterans and camps of the rainbow people, and they take all their stuff, steal it, and off they go. So they're subject to that like any other community. We try and keep that out, and they have their own security people there that do that. But there's three different elements out there. There's the rainbow family, which are pretty harmless. Do they smoke a little pot now and then? Sure they do. They came from that environment. And, you know, I've never seen hard drugs out there, ever. You'll find more of that at some of your sophisticated parties in Orlando.
In the neighborhoods,
yeah, than you will out in the forest. They don't bother. One, they can't afford it, and two, they don't bother with it. But sure, somebody will be out there smoking. That's going to happen. On the other hand, you've also, besides the rainbow people, you've got the hippies, which are very similar. But again, you know, I've eaten with them. I've stayed out there with them, and they're very, very nice people. They're very calm people. There's a few bad ones now and then, and you take care of that, like you would any other neighborhood if you have somebody in your neighborhood causing disruption.
Yeah, we had Pastor Chris on here before. And,
yeah, he knows it.
We mentioned,
he's been here 15 years.
That. Yeah, and I mentioned that. He says, you know, they do police themselves. If they get somebody in there that's a bad apple that perhaps stole from a store or something,
they're gone.
They're gone. They're not welcome there anymore.
And even the forest rangers who come in and they check, and they come in quite a bit. There's been situations where they've cooperated with the Forest Service to try and get these people out of there because they don't want to have a bad reputation either. But unfortunately, whenever you see a write-up on it, it always seems to go in that direction. And that's really a shame. It's really not fair. I would love to be able to sit there with them and take them out and introduce them to these families that are out there and the children that are out there and just see how they really do live. We can learn a lot from these people in the forest. They don't have TVs and Game Boys and computers and everything else. At night,
they probably read too, huh?
They do. They read books to the children. They sit around the fires, the campfires at night, and they play board games. And they do the kind of things that we used to do when we were kids, which is kind of nice. You know, it makes a nice closeness within the family.
Speaking of the families, you
I
have
was
some
out there,
photos here.
Last weekend when I was out, I took a few pictures. I had mentioned that we talked to the Vietnam Veterans of America in the villages, the Rotary Club there, USA Cares, a wonderful group of ladies called Busy Hands and Happy Hearts who knit, and they knitted hats and scarves and gloves for the children out there because it gets so cold at night. It got down to 28, 29 degrees at night, and they're sleeping in little tents or just over a canopy. But we gathered blankets. I asked for 200 blankets, and we filled this van probably 6 times over to take blankets out. We got over 450 blankets when we needed 200.
Oh, that's great.
Plus clothing and mittens and gloves and things. So they're well taken care of on that. When we went out, we also set up
I'll put it over here for you.
We also set up a camp and put banners and the flag up where the veterans knew they could come and they could get help. So this is what we call Welcome Home Camp. It's very small. but everything is laid out. If they need clothing, if they need food, if they need blankets, tarps, whatever they have, they know they can come here and they can get it. So that was one thing we did. Here's an example. You know, we talk about the people that are out there. These are 3 veterans that are out there. Some are Vietnam veterans. One of them is a Gulf War veteran. I know them personally. I've met with them. When we set up camp, they're right there helping us pitch camp, and they work pretty hard. But they're decent human beings. They've served their country. They're American heroes, and they deserve our support and our respect, not our condemnation. And we try and do the best we can for them. So. And these are the ones that melt my heart. This is one of the families that came in. They needed warm clothes at night. These are some of the children that came in. As you can see, their dirty faces and the mud balls on their body. Yeah, it was
a mud ball fight.
Yeah, the little guys decided he was going to throw mud at his older brother and sister. But
up north, we throw snow. They throw mud.
Exactly, but they got everything that they needed. And when you see these children and you see how appreciative they are, we gave them each apples and oranges and something to drink, and you'd have thought you gave them a steak dinner. They were just so thrilled.
Yeah, see the sign there for Logos Christian Fellowship.
Yeah, that's Chris's church, and they do a fantastic job.
I was talking to him. He says, you know, they're getting pretty well known. He's pretty well known with all these.
Yeah, nationally, he's all over.
Yeah,
he's quite a guy. Yeah, he and his brother Mark, and Mark does a lot of it out there too. This I kind of like because we never thought about it, but toys, stuffed animals and toys. We got a lot of those this year, and this little gal wound up getting a bear. You know, that bear is not going to leave her side. I can assure you that she's going to be taking it to bed every night. And this is typical of the kids that are out there.
But you can see she's she's cleaned up, and you know,
I
mean, they do take good care of them.
They do indeed. One of the things this year we noticed more and more, we're getting a lot of younger vets coming in because we're getting them coming back now from Afghanistan. And one fellow that I talked to out there, he's airborne. He was out there and he's living with them now, and he's teaching them all kinds of things about survival and setting up camps and so forth. And I had a long talk with this gentleman. And same thing, he came back and he had a job. He had lost his job. It wasn't there. The company had closed. He had eventually lost his home, and now he's living out there with our vets in the forest, but he's doing a great job. And he's actively looking for work. So.
Yeah, and a lot of these veterans, because I talked with you and Pastor Chris, and he will run them up to the veterans clinics or whatever they need
all do,
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also they try to help them find jobs, and there's a lot of things they do besides just give them blankets.
Yeah, we're not looking to interfere, but on the other hand, you know, we always said we're not going to give them a handout, we're going to give them a hand up. And we try and do that. I've had several young people who lived out there, their parents were veterans, and now they're 18, 19 years old, and they've joined the military. So now they have a career in the military, and I've had several go in the military that I knew. But we do our best to try and get them out of that environment, out of the forest, back into a job and become, you know, productive in their communities again. Our goal is not to support them in the forest forever and leave them there. Our goal is to get them out of the forest, and that's what we try and do. One of the things I found interesting, when we think of our veterans, often we think of our enlisted men that are out there. And this kind of surprised me. This is a young man who's a second lieutenant. He came back from Afghanistan, and when he came back, you know, your job is usually secure, but in this case, the company went out of business. So he had no job to come back to. He eventually lost his home, and he has a little more money than some of the others. He bought a tent, he bought a cot, but he's living out there with the vets. He's living in the forest. And that's Pastor Chris Ward that you see.
I was going to say, we should mention that.
Yeah, Pastor Ward is out there with him. So he and I were kind of walking around talking to him that day. But it's been a very, very interesting ministry, and it's continuing, I guess, positively, and sadly, it's starting to grow. We're getting more and more vets out into the forest, and our work continues to increase. So we always need help on that. We always need contributions to help with that too. Particularly right now, we need camping equipment, we need tents, we need lanterns, we need stoves, we need things like that. Again, it's a harsh environment. There's no fresh water, although last year we bought what they call water buffaloes, 8 of them, and they hold, I think, about 1,200 to 1,500 gallons of water. The fire departments out there come and fill these water buffaloes with fresh water.
That's a good thing for the people to know.
So the community does get involved.
Yeah, they do have clean water, and you know.
They have clean water now. We're getting better places for them as far as shelter. The food is being provided. We're getting lots of food, so they have plenty to eat out there right now. And they have communal kitchens that they set up. They'll cook for 30 or 40 instead of individually. which works out very, very well. Sanitation is still a problem, but the interesting thing is they love the land. And when I say love the land, they will set up a latrine area, which we all know, we're in the military, the slit trench. When they're done, they cut the sod out to set it up, and when they're finished and they fill it in, they put the sod back, which I thought was really interesting. So when they leave there, you will never know that they've been there. The campsites, the restroom sites they set
They're
up.
respected,
They respect
respectful.
it. They put everything back the way it was. And they're proud of that. They spend an entire week doing that as they move to a different part of the forest. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. We're kind of running down on time, I'm afraid. But if people have blankets, whatever, once again, how do they get a hold of you? Or
Same thing. Call me directly. It's Gary Kadow, and they can reach me at 352-430-0567. Easy as that.
And if you need stuff picked
And
up
I'll tell them-
in Leesburg area and stuff, Pastor Chris is around, and
Yep.
I know somebody will help pick up stuff once
Yeah,
in a
you
while
do. I
for
know.
you.
Yeah. There's a lot of people here in the community that have come forward and helped us out. We have a lot of the Vietnam veterans now. I have the honor of being chaplain to the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1036. And we had about, when you were at the last meeting, we had about 250 some people there,
Yeah,
all Vietnam veterans. And every one of them, when you need help, you can count on them. They're there for you. So I'm very, very, very proud to be part of that.
Okay. And
Thank you,
this
my
has
friend.
been 3 years since you
Yeah.
first came on the show.
Yeah, long time.
And for those people who watch this show, you could still go into our archives in Lakefront TV and the archives, and you were in there again with all about September 11th, where you worked as a minister at Ground Zero.
Episcopal chaplain,
And
yeah.
I think that was we did a two-part deal on that, and it was really interesting.
Yeah,
So-
that was a while ago.
Yeah, but you're still involved sending stuff up there too, I guess.
Oh, sure.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. That
You're all over the place. man.
9/11 will never go away. It's always with me. You know, being there at Ground Zero and seeing it up close and personal, that it embeds itself in your soul. You never forget. So, but
Well-
thank you for everything you guys have done for us, and we appreciate it. And hopefully, people will call. We'll get some wheelchairs, and we'll get some stuff for.
That's what I
folks
want
in
to.
the
I want to
forest.
hear that. You know, I want to get a call back from you in about 2 weeks and saying, "Boy, the people really answered the call. I got a lot of wheelchairs. I got some blankets. I got this and that."
Yep, they
because
always
it's
have.
all about making a difference in this world. That's what we're here for.
Well, thank you, my friend.
You know. So, I got to say goodbye.
Take care.
All right. So, all our veterans out there, their families, and our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. We are now entering our third year salute here at Lakefront TV. We've had many great guests and veterans organizations share their stories with us. We'd like to hear from you too. If you're a veteran or a veterans organization, Lake Sumter counties, please give us a call. Lakefront TV can be seen all over Lake County and the villages and worldwide at lakefronttv.com.